Easy now.
Easy now.
Easy now, mate. Hey, I think this is going to be the coldest podcast we've ever recorded, but it's the coolest one because we're at your house, your gaff.
My house, yes. Yeah.
And very nice it is too.
Thank you, mate. No, I appreciate you guys coming over. We had quite a night last night, and it's lovely to have the podcast set up in the garage, or just on the border of the garage, in the drive-in in the garage.
Oh, I thought this was a Black Circle's warehouse.
Yeah, it does look that way. It's not as bad as it looks. There's a lot of M2 Cup 2s there.
Yeah.
Obviously, the M2 hasn't really been... It's been really good on tyres this year, the M2.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah, but welcome. Thanks for coming down, both of you and Patrick. It's been awesome.
It's very cool. So we are here at Joe's house, recording an episode of the Drive Talk podcast. And we've been up to a lot recently. And when we record these, sometimes they are recorded and put out several weeks later. Sometimes they're quite... But this one, we can actually talk about what we've been up to because it's going out soon.
Yes. Yeah, we've had a lot going on. I think the previous one to this is the full Misha one, which is going really well, and appreciate all the love on that. We certainly enjoyed filming that, and that was a couple of months ago. So, been up to a lot.
We've been up to a lot. So we've got a couple of things in this episode of Drive Talk Podcast powered by Michelin. I guess first up, we want to thank Michelin for their continued support. I don't know whether you guessed that there's a Michelin link.
Is that branding in...
I think it's in shot. Yeah, I think
Okay.
Pat put it there on purpose.
Yeah, okay.
And
cool.
I want to go home with that tyre that's behind me.
Yeah, well, you have to fight me for that one,
Yeah,
mate.
that's very, very cool. Where's that from? Is that that's a Formula car, is it?
Yeah, it's actually it's a Formula One. I think it's 2006, but it's off their their mock-up sort of demonstrator cars or the show cars, I think they call them.
Yeah.
The one, I think it's connected to the one that Tim or Shmee's got his.
Oh, wow.
Yes. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's very, very cool.
Yeah.
And it's really weird now because Formula One cars don't have the tiny wheels and massive sidewall anymore.
No.
And they just look weird now.
Yeah, agreed.
So we've got a few things we're gonna chat about. We're gonna have a bit of a catch up, just generally talk about what we've been up to because we've been up to a lot. And then in the second half of the pod, we are going to explore cars, new car prices, and go through what we think are good value or interesting cars at certain price ranges.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a big old subject there just about the general price of cars is ridiculous right now. But
it is. And a bit like when we talked about the used car depreciation examples, this is blind. Like, I've not seen yours.
No.
And I literally messaged Ped the other night. We're like, what are we going to talk about and what price points?
Yeah.
Right, you go away and do your work. So I think that's great because then it's fascinating for me as well and fascinating for you.
although you were really good at finding the bargains.
Well, maybe, this is your redemption time.
I don't know about that.
Let's see.
Anyway, so where should we start? So been super, super busy recently. Should we just start about what we've been doing this morning and last night, actually? And I'm really busy this week doing some filming specifically for Michelin for a marketing exercise or campaign that they're doing in a few weeks' time.
Yeah, so starting here, I mean, we're in the garage. We spent a lot of last night in the garage. It wasn't the warmest. It's just dropped in temperature, hasn't it? Last weekend it was sort of 22, 23 degrees. This weekend it's 2 or 3 degrees.
I rocked up yesterday in the Boxster with the roof down and it was lovely. This morning it's freezing. And I haven't got enough warm clothes with me.
Yeah, so behind me we've got a sim set up, and it's not just your average sim. It's a pretty special sim because I'm going to be doing bits and pieces through the winter with Michelin and Gran Turismo 7. For those of you that don't know, Michelin are the official tyre partner with Gran Turismo. And I did a few bits with them last year, went to the Monaco Grand Final of the GT7, which was awesome. And we got an amazing sim set up here. And I have to say a big shout out to my good friend Tim Morley for his effect simulations, the rig, if you like. Yeah, it's beautiful. It is absolutely stunning. Make sure you check out. There'll be something on my Instagram and stuff, and then all of the stuff around that, including the Fanatec wheel and pedal setup, and then obviously you need the PlayStation 5 and the Gran Turismo 7. But yeah, there's lots of content coming on that soon, and hopefully I enjoy that through the winter months. It's a balance, enjoying it, but also managing to hold a relationship, like...
You are a nightmare. We were watching the rugby last night and he popped out and went, I'm just going to go and have a couple of laps. an hour later, he comes in, blue lips, freezing cold. So Joe's you're playing on a sim, and then me and Pat are off later this week. We're doing a film all around hydrogen, so hydrogen fuel cells and some different implementations of hydrogen and partners that Michelin are working with on that to create exclusive content for Michelin. So really excited about that project.
That is cool.
So I'm spending the rest of the week with Pat, pretty much.
Wow. I'm slightly jealous. I mean, I would be more jealous if I wasn't getting on a plane to Australia for a month, I guess.
Oh, yeah,
Or
man.
did I just drop that?
Yeah. Oh, no. So one of them is we're actually filming 3 podcasts today.
Yes.
Just to try and bank stuff so that while you're away, sunning yourself in Australia. So what are you doing out there? You it's not a holiday.
It's not a holiday. I mean, it's going to be great, and I don't want people to feel pity for me. Because,
No, we're not.
No, okay. All right.
No, there's no pity involved at all. You're going to Australia.
Yeah, it's been something I've been wanting to plan. So for those of you that don't know, because I know a lot of people don't realise, but I'm actually dual citizen, so mum's Australian.
I like your mum.
Yes. Oh, she actually left me a message replying to last night saying, say hi to Pete, and oh, doesn't he look young? So mum's Australian, and yeah, my brother lives out there. He's married and lives out there. Well, not quite married, but he lives out there, and yeah, I love it. I haven't been out there since 2018, so I'm going out with BMW Australia. Are actually really helping with this. I got in touch with a guy called Nick out there, thanks to our mutual journalist friend Paul Marrick, and he's really helped put all this together. He's helping with flights, helping with accommodation, and I'm going to be filming, surprise, surprise, a lot of BMW content out there. But when I land Friday the 20th of October, and that's the weekend of the MotoGP at Phillip Island. So I'm going to be at Phillip Island watching MotoGP, which is an absolute dream for me. It really doesn't get much better than that. And yeah, spending 3.5 weeks out there filming various bits of content, doing a few meets and stuff in Melbourne and Sydney mostly, because it's a big old country and I can't get around all of it whilst working. But yeah, it should be good. Should be very good. So very much looking forward to that, and then coming back to the winter.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's you being busy in the next 3. Well, when do you go? You go next week, right?
This week. It's Monday now. I leave on Wednesday.
Oh my God. Okay.
I'll be one more thing actually. I'll be daily vlogging it, which I've never done before, and I know you have. Yeah.
I know what's coming, mate. I've done a daily vlog.
So yeah, I'm kind of a bit apprehensive, but I am excited about doing it, and I've just got to be as raw and as real as possible in it. So yeah, kind of looking forward to that.
It exposes you, daily vlogs.
Yes,
it's a real great way to connect with your audience and let them see what's happening. But it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But if actually editing's relatively simple, because unlike when we film with cars and we've got multiple camera angles and B-roll and all that kind of stuff, you don't have any of that in a daily vlog. It's just a bunch of video clips that you drop in the timeline and push render and then publish it.
Yes, yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, that's what I'm very much looking forward to, the simplicity of it all. So amongst filming bigger videos, so yeah. And what else have you been up to? What's let's rewind. I mean,
I guess
few weeks.
I actually did a bit of my old job last week.
Oh,
it was a training job I had in the calendar since January, so I'm not really doing very much of that at all anymore. So I was doing my old job, but the week before that I was in Berlin with Skoda.
Oh yes, of course.
For Kodiak, for the world premiere of Kodiak, which was good.
Yep.
And I've actually got a Kodiak VRS arriving tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Not the new one, obviously, because it's just been launched, but the old one. So that'll allow me to drive around all the places we're going with that, with them in nice, warm, sporty comfort. So that was good.
Is that an electric car?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
We do have the Michelin Taycan with us because we're doing a piece
cool.
on sustainability. So we do have an electric car going around with us, but I'm in a VRS.
Okay.
Kodiak.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you were out wild camping?
Yeah, well, I mean, the last few weeks I literally had to pull up my phone just to double check, because the last few weeks have been a bit crazy for me.
So this is your home.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've only been here since yesterday, and I've probably spent more time in your home than you have in the last month.
Oh, don't. Poor Lou. I feel like I haven't been here for the last 3 months, really, and now I'm about to head off for another month. But yeah, I mean, so middle of September, video coming to the channel soon, took an R8 GT, which is their final flagship car, which you need to get your hands on.
I've got it.
You got it?
December.
Excellent. I took that down to the Alps, and it was a last minute. I think I picked it up on a Friday. I hadn't booked anything because I was watching the weather, and then by the Saturday morning, I'd booked my Eurotunnel first night's hotel, a bit like I did with the GS adventure, and literally just booked the Eurotunnel and went to the Alps. Spent a day filming in the Alps, turned around, came back.
And you met up with Petrolped Tours?
Yeah, bumped into Petrolped Tours down there, which was awesome. And those guys really helped me, actually. They put me up. They had a spare room in this glorious hotel they were staying in. And it just all tied together because I hadn't really planned the trip. I was like, so I stayed with them, and it was a fantastic trip, fantastic car, and look forward to sharing that one with you. And then after that, Sport Classic. So I had the car you had.
Neither of us wanted to give that one back.
No, what a car!
I know.
What an object! What a thing! I mean, imagine having that just in your garage, just for your mates to come around and show them. It's just
I don't have 370 grand to have it in my garage. That's the problem.
No, neither do I. But
I mean, I think that's a video or a podcast episode. Actually, is the overs that some cars are going for. Are they really worth that? And what makes them reach those kind of numbers? I know it's a limited run Porsche. It's a beautiful car.
Yeah.
But there are quite a lot of limited run Porsches, and it's a tricky one.
It's what defines are they worth it, really, isn't it? It's like if you buy that for 370 grand, if it's worth 450 grand in 3 years' time, then it is worth it. Financially, I'm talking about. And also, it's one of those cars that I think I said it in my video, I can't remember, but I definitely thought it. If I won the lottery tomorrow, which I don't play, by the way, and it was a big win, it would be something that I would want just because I would then have it. And not necessarily, I don't know what I would do. It's not a car it's kind of a car that does everything, isn't it? But it's not a car that you would take on a track day. It's not a car that you'd necessarily daily, but you could. But it's just a beautiful object, and it's something that's very unique.
I'd like to have enough money to just drive the wheels off it, basically.
Yes, yeah.
Just have it every day. But that was a beautiful car.
It was.
And then we had the Arteon R. So we do that. The thing is, at the end of the day, we like the same kind of cars.
Yep.
We've got similar relationships with the same kind of manufacturers. So completely unplanned, we just end up often having similar cars.
And we posted the Arteon R videos. And trust me, when I say this, there is no gain in either of us doing that because, it's actually a bit silly because we know we share audiences. But we both posted that video at the same time on the same day.
I know.
Like, I couldn't believe it. I refreshed my subscription feed and I was like, why is there another Arteon R on there? You posted yours. So, but it does happen. But it's great because you watch the videos, and as we know, we both have very similar opinions, but we also have both very different opinions, and I think that video shows it. We discover similar things in cars, which is always nice. It's all when you respect someone like I respect and listen and like what you do, and you say something that I've thought. It's like, okay, that's like a
unless it's electric, because then Joe goes, "Oh, it's electric. I don't like electric. It's a Tesla." But no, because when my Sport Classic video went out, you rang me and went, "Mate, I've said almost exactly the same thing about the gearbox," and you did.
Yes, except I couldn't explain it like you, and I tried to explain that, but I couldn't. And talking of electric cars, actually, so I went to Sweden. I don't think I've talked about this on the podcast.
No, but that looked like an amazing trip.
It really was. And on paper, once again, it's not the sort of trip that you'd think Joe Achilles would get too excited about because it was an electric only trip. It was all around electrified things, cars, electrified surfboards, which was awesome. Once I finally figured out how to stand up, and then I fell off, and then my GoPro fell in the sea, and I never got that back. But anyway, I'm not jaded about that at all.
And it was a new one.
And it was my newest one. But that was a wicked trip. I really enjoyed it. I had a Taycan Turbo S, so, just your average electric car. But I actually really enjoyed that trip. The infrastructure, we were on a beautiful island called Gotland. I flew into Stockholm, and then we caught this ferry over to Gotland. Anyone that's thinking about going to Stockholm, go and spend a day or two over in Gotland. It is just stunning. We were very lucky with the weather, and it was paradise. And the roads were beautiful and quiet, and the scenery was amazing. And it all kind of really fitted with the electric car thing. And there was a couple of moments where I realised, the infrastructure out there, even on this island, seemed to work so much better than a lot of what we're used to. For instance, the first night hotel, we stayed in this really nice hotel in this old town, really old, beautiful town. Pulled up to the hotel, car park's over there, drove into the car park. At least half of the car park, so probably 30 spots, were all had electric charging bays. Wow. You paid, as you would do in most hotels, I think it was €20 for the night to park. And that's either a normal car or if you got an electric car and you plug it in for free. Like, you don't pay any extra. So you plug the car in, I think it was 11 kilowatt chargers maybe.
Yep.
But anyway, enough to charge most things
overnight.
During the night. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So plugged it in. And, that was great. And it was like, wow, I woke up in the morning. And actually, when you start looking at it in that way, it's like, now I don't even need to go to the petrol station because my car is essentially full of, energy. Electrons. But yeah, no, it was really, it was a great trip and I really enjoyed it. But it was lovely getting back in the M2 when I got back to Heathrow Airport and hearing that combustion engine fire up. So it made me appreciate both. But
I do think though that's a seminal moment, mate. You just talked for maybe 3 or 4 minutes positively about electric cars. It's amazing.
I know. Anyway, let's move on.
Yeah. Oh dear. So, are we going to dive into these cars? Do you think?
Yes, I think we should. Yeah. Where are we going to start? Are we starting at the top or at the?
I think we'll. Before we do that, why don't we just have a chat about price of cars? Because you both of us get comments in videos when we talk about, we get a lovely press car.
Yep.
And you go through the spec, and then you say how much the car is, and it's become very easy to say a sentence, something along the lines of, "This car is only 50 grand."
Yeah, or I always back that up with, it's because we're in 2023. But, as you say, it's very easy to say either of those things. And it's like, but actually, when you stop and think about it, it's like, it's just madness.
So there's a bit for me that even, and they don't have to be special. Obviously, something we mentioned, that Sport Classic, that was 217 grand when it was new.
Yes.
It's a ridiculous amount of money for a car, really, for 95% of people.
Yep.
But even an average kind of family car is high 40s, 50 grand.
Well, that Arteon R was 60 grand base, right? And 66 as tested. I mean, and I'm not calling it an average car because it had a bit of punch. It did a lot of things. But, it's, no offence, Volkswagen are brilliant, but it's got a Volkswagen badge on it and it's nearly £70,000.
Yeah.
It's just...
And the reason I wanted to talk about it is that I one of the things that we differ very, very significantly about cars is I have never bought a brand new car.
Right. Okay.
Ever.
Yeah.
All of my new cars have all been 12-month-old ex-demonstrator type cars. I always kind of buy, and there's a couple of reasons for that. I'm never that fussed about a particular spec. I mean, you can just wait and look and hopefully find a car that's in the spec you like.
Yep.
So I know that some people, if they really like to spec their cars and personalise them and make them their own, then the only way you're going to do that is to basically buy a new one.
Yeah.
But my other one is just that first 12-month depreciation thing. That just plays on my mind about buying a car.
Yeah.
But also, a lot of the cars I've owned in the past, I've bought outright.
Yes.
Or maybe had a bank loan, so had an HP finance agreement rather than a PCP, so you pay a 2, 3, 4 year monthly fee, and then at the end the car's yours.
Sure.
And I keep my cars a long time, so 5 to 7 years is not an unusual time frame for me to keep my cars.
And I think that's the smartest financial thing to do. And there are two ways of looking at this, and I think at the moment, unfortunately, it's the financing thing's becoming less and less accessible as APRs go up, and depreciation's becoming a big thing, as we talked about recently. So the gap that you pay now is huge, whereas you rewind. I grew up always buying cars that I could afford. So my first car was a Golf Mark IV GTI, but it was the crappy one, 2 litre. It literally wouldn't, what's the saying, wouldn't blow the skin off a rice pudding.
Something like that.
And that was £5,000, I think, or £5,500. And I had 3 or 4 grand, and I think I took out a £1,000 bank loan or something and paid that out. And then I did that for the first few cars. But I think it wasn't until I started really getting excited about cars and realizing that because of my credit rating and stuff, I could now finance an M135i, which I couldn't have afforded to buy because it was 35 grand or something, the first one I got. But financing it, especially back then, was really affordable. As in, like, I think it was $399 a month or $4. You know, it was a few hundred quid. But for me, it was like, well, that's £100 a week, and I could have essentially my realistic dream car.
Yeah.
So that's the way I used to always look at it. And also in the sense it was like, okay, well, in 2 or 3 years, whenever the PCP's up, I'll get into something else. And it used to flow quite well back then, because at 2 years or 2.5 years, your dealer would contact you and say, oh, actually, Joe, do you want to jump into a new one? You don't even need a deposit because there's a bit of equity in your car. So you just keep rolling that. So you're financing cars, you know, you said you buy new cars, Joe, but I've never actually.
Well, I know. Yeah.
That's the other thing, isn't it? It's financing. You're financing. You're not buying the car. You're renting it.
I don't think where I was going with you can't buy cars like I used to anymore.
No.
Because, well, obviously you can if you've got a lot of money, you know, in a savings account or something. But how many of us realistically have got 50,000 quid?
Yeah.
You probably can't get a personal loan for much more than like 25,000 quid.
No.
So the only way you can get into these cars is with a PCP agreement, or you lease them.
Yep.
And I don't know whether and I'm not an expert in this by any means, but it almost seems that way that people buy cars, the PCP trend, that's inflated the prices of cars.
Yep.
Because they can get away with it because it's all about monthlies.
Yes.
And that for me, I just struggle with that because there's more to it than just how much you pay per month. It's the interest rate. We've mentioned that already. It's, you know, not nearly as favourable as it used to be.
Yes.
But yeah, I think, I mean, we're going to talk. So what we've done is we've set ourselves 3 different price points. So we've chosen, or we're going to have a chat about what we think is a good value car for under £30,000. A good value car for under £50,000, and then a good value car for under £100,000.
Yeah, new.
So they've got to be brand new.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do on another podcast. We thought we'd have a chat because let's face it, even £30,000 for most people is way too much money.
Yeah.
So we're going to do another one for under £10,000.
Yeah, and I think that's a good one. Also, that's a relatable one that you could actually hopefully save over a couple of years, you know, save up that money and actually go and buy it outright as opposed to having to finance it.
Exactly. So if anyone's got any ideas about sub £10,000 cars, reach out and either drop us a DM or something on Instagram, or put it in the comments if you're on YouTube, and we'll maybe shout out those cars when we do that podcast. Right then, shall we dive in?
Yes.
Who's going first? No, you take the mickey out of me because I've got my laptop out, but my eyesight's not as good as yours. I need a laptop so I can see it.
Well, are we starting at the top or are we starting at...
I think we should start at the bottom and go aspirational.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, well, sometimes I get some comments about the fact that we only ever review expensive cars. And, you know, I'm there's an element to, I want to review cars for kind of consumerism and you know, as a cert, but also I just like getting access to really nice cars.
Yes.
So I've got a Ferrari Roma next week.
Wow.
Right. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to afford to buy a Ferrari Roma, but to experience one and to share that with the audience, that's really, really special and cool.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
£30,000 or less.
Yeah. And this isn't, it's kind of like it's almost like what we would buy, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like, or what we would advise if someone came up and said, what would you, and obviously, I think
I've tried to be a bit kind of left field.
Yep.
And I might just chat about a couple of other cars and not talk the detail, but other cars that I considered.
Yep.
The other thing is I am, when I buy a car, and I've always done this, I'll never buy the base model. I always want the best spec one I can get.
Okay.
So, I didn't want a Boxster. I wanted a Boxster GTS.
Yes.
I don't want the,
you didn't want a Boxster. You wanted a Boxster Spider RS.
Yeah, well, obviously I wanted but that wasn't happening either. So, shall I go first?
You go first. You go first with this.
So, you're going to love this one because it's electric.
Okay, good.
So,
Well, at least we're not going to clash on the first car.
Now, the reason I've done this, right, is that one of the very regular criticisms of any electric car is they're all really expensive.
Yeah.
Teslas are up in the 60,000 quid. Most of them are 50 to 60,000 quid. That Taycan you had last week was well over 100 grand, I would have thought.
Yes. Yep.
So I've gone for an electric car that has incredible response from journalists. Everyone kind of raves about it, says it's really good. And it is, can you guess? Sub 30,000 quid.
I mean, the only sub £30,000 electric car that I know of is probably like the Mini Electric or the Fiat 500, maybe.
No, it could have been, but either of those actually, because I've not driven the Fiat 500 electric.
Okay.
But no, I haven't gone for one of those. I've gone for it's a bit more of a family car, better range, got over 300 miles of range apparently.
Is it a Hyundai or
no Chinese?
The BYO?
No.
Is that BYO? Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Bring your own?
It is an MG.
Oh, wow. I can see you in an MG as well, Pep.
Well, I had an MG as a long-term,
There we
right?
go.
And actually it was quite good.
Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, of course.
I've spec'd it. Look.
Yes.
Right? It's an MG4
Okay.
EV.
Wait, that's 30,190 quid.
That's only because I put a different colour on it. It's literally... I'll show you the finance agreement in a minute. It's 29,900.
Okay.
So it's the long range one. They actually start from like 25, I think.
Yep.
So and I'm sure if you walked into a dealer, you get it for less than that. But it's the long range one. It's got loads of gear on it, 64 kilowatt hour battery, and finance wise, the really exciting, interesting is they're doing 0% APR.
Wow, that's impressive. I would say for a 30 grand car to offer 0%, because again, that's basically manufacturer discount in the car.
Yeah.
So what are we looking at?
Monthlies.
You've done way more homework than me.
No, well, no, it's on the website, super easy. So total amount payable is 29,495.
Okay.
With £9,000 deposit.
Yeah.
Monthly's £189 a month.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that's a chunky deposit, isn't it?
And optional. Well, it's got an optional final payment.
Yeah.
Of 16 grand.
What's that? Is that 2 year?
It's a 2 year agreement.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then, you're pouring in. What's that?
I don't know what it's going to be worth at the end of that. That'll be a problem.
2.4. That's like
you're
pouring in 13 grand into that over 2 years. That's reversing back to the actual retail price of that. I am actually surprised, and it's no wonder that you do see quite a few of them out on the road. There's an orange colour, isn't there? They do. I don't know if it's in that model.
That one there. Yeah.
And I know a few people that've got them, and I mean, you can't argue with that, can you? It's
no, and as an EV, and they've got a couple of quite funky. They've got that MG Cyberster thing, which is like the little. There's a picture of it yesterday. Look. It's like a little 2-seat sports car thing, which is fully electric.
Okay, well, it looks like a little MX-5 or something.
Exactly. Yeah. So MG for me it was one of those. You have to do two things with an MG. Forget the MG badge and the old MG BGTs and stuff like that, because they're nothing to do with them. So
no,
just bought the brand basically. But the technology. Oh, the other thing is the China thing. People lose their mind about the fact it's coming from China.
Yeah.
And human rights and all that kind of stuff. So let's put that to one side as well.
Yes.
But they make some great EV technology.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd just, start you on that one, see if I got a rise from you about, it being an electric car.
Well, no, I mean,
so that's a family electric car for under £30,000 with 0% finance if you want to buy it down the finance route.
Yeah.
That's as cheap an EV as you're going to get.
Yeah.
And also, it's got pretty good range as well. I think it's 250 miles, something like that, to nearly 300 miles of range.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't argue with that.
And I ran an MG ZS EV as a long-termer. And I have to say, when Hendy said, we're going to give you an MG, I'm like, oh, really? And it was really good. Even Tracy was like, I'm not going to drive that. Yeah. And she drove it to the shop. She came back. She went, that's really quite good.
Yeah.
It's not the internal materials aren't great, a bit plasticky, the scratchy plastics and all that kind of stuff. But it's a 30 grand EV.
Yeah. But as you said a second ago, why did they use the MG? Why did they?
Don't know.
Who actually thought, I know, let's buy that?
I don't know. I mean, at least with that Cyberster thing, at least they're bringing the kind of sports car vibe to the brand.
To it,
but yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, that's good.
So that's my sub sub 30k.
Nice. Oh, I think that's a great choice. Personally,
No, you don't.
I'd go with mine every day of the week. Maybe we should put some polls in the comment section. So my first choice, or my
I bet it's going to be better than mine.
my choice for under 30 grand, if it was my money, and it's a car that I have been considering looking at buying, #finance, over the last couple of years, is the Hyundai. How do you say Hyundai? Hyundai.
Like Sunday,
Like Sunday, but
apparently.
Hyundai. i20N.
Are they under 30 grand? Are they?
Oh, so I've just looked literally an hour ago.
You see, I thought they were. I should have looked.
20. They're still 26,500.
No way.
They come with a load of sound equipment. I think the only options are colours, and maybe there's a sound pack or something. You get 204 horsepower. I think it's 1.6 turbo.
Yep.
6-speed manual, under 1,200 kilos.
Launch control, limited slip diff. Epic car.
Epic car. And the reason this is what triggered off this whole conversation and the idea behind it was a good mutual friend of ours, Taryn. He's got a beautiful 911, and he wanted to buy something he could run as a daily through the winter months and just not care too much about it. And so he ordered one. It turned up the other day it's that blue, performance blue.
Performance blue, yeah.
And it's just, I mean, I've seen a few, obviously. I've driven some, but I just looked at it. It was like, mate, that's such a car for basically 25 grand.
Oh, they're mega things.
Mega bit of kit. So yeah, that's where
I'm going to be even punchy. I think, the natural competitor to those would be something like a Fiesta ST.
Yes.
I think that's a better car than a Fiesta ST.
But they don't make them anymore, do they?
No.
And that's what, I would agree.
Down a B road,
yeah,
you don't need anything more than a Hyundai i20N.
No. And as a road car, again, you can really drive it hard without breaking the law. And I think that's so important. We both talk about that a lot on our channels. It's all very well having a Carrera Sport Classic with 550 horsepower, but if you're driving that hard, then you're being a bit naughty
in first gear.
Yeah, literally. So I think that's.
You see,
and 26.5 grand. What does that? That gives you 3.5 grand. That's your insurance and whatever else for the year.
Yeah.
I think that's really good value in today's world, in today's crazy car market.
Yeah. And I know we're doing new cars, but
yeah,
then go down my route and buy a year-old one of them.
Yes.
And you probably get it for low 20s.
Yes.
I don't know how whether they hold their money. Actually,
they're about 22, 23 year old. So then you look at it and you think, oh, okay, well, either new or used, I think is good value. I wouldn't say, because then you lose a year warranty and stuff on it. But
yeah, true.
But
they've still got, like, I think, is it 5 or 7 years?
Oh, yeah, of course, yes.
5 or 7 year warranty.
Yeah.
And in black, they look mega in black.
Yes.
And I bet there's a whole bunch of performance enhancement bits you can put on them and do a bit of tuning.
I would think so. Yeah. No,
red mud flaps, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Anyway.
You see, I think you win round one.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No, but I also
put in the comments which of those two do you think is the best bargain?
Yeah. Well, I have to say, I'm glad we've both gone down totally different directions, and it's good to see that there is something that is reasonably affordable and electric. Okay. Right. On to the next one. So sub £50,000.
Well, for a start, man, you could. There's so many. I mean, for a start, your car's big sibling, the i30N.
Yes.
I'd actually have the i30N Fastback.
Yep.
Mega car.
And I think they're still sub 40.
You'd have a lot of change.
Yeah.
You'd have a lot of change with 50 grand.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are lots and lots. So I've kind of chosen a car, and I've driven it. I've spent time in it, and I know you have as well.
Yep.
And actually, you don't need to spend 50 grand on one. I've chosen the top spec one.
Yep.
And it's still under 50 grand.
Okay.
But I think they start mid 30s. I think.
Okay.
It's a family car, so room for 4 or 5 people. It's sporty. It's quite unique looking.
Okay.
It's over 300 horsepower.
Okay.
And it is.
Oh, lovely. Yes. Good car.
Cupra Formentor.
fantastic, really good car.
And this one that I've decided or chosen is the high spec one,
The punchy one. It's basically a Golf
it's
R,
300,
isn't it?
yeah, 310 PS.
Yeah. And that's what they're about 40. What did you say? 40 odd grand.
Well, you can. I think I created one on here, and I got it 48,270.
But with everything.
Yeah. And they come pretty much spec'd with everything anyway. I think the only thing I put on it, where did my summary go? I don't think I put many options on it. I mean, the wheels and stuff were all really nice.
All on there.
Colour's nice.
It's a lovely car, and I fear with Cupra, because I know they're really heavily invested with electric only future, and that seems to be all they're talking about. Yeah. And they produced a brilliant, unique model there, because you can't get the Formentor and the Seat, but I think Seats are being phased out completely. And they, banging on and on about the Cupra Born and
Cupra Born was nearly one of my sub 50 ones, because I think as an EV, if you put Taycan to one side, for me, Cupra Born's the best electric car you can put, and also put Tesla to one side.
I just find it very, very dull, and it reminds me too much of the IG3. No, but it just doesn't seem to have any soul. And
I just think they look cool, and as an EV, I think. But no, Formentor.
Okay.
I remember I had one of those, and as a press car, and it was in frozen paint, which I wouldn't choose because it looked amazing when it was clean.
Yes.
But, my goodness me, they're quick. I mean, it reminded me a lot of my Mini Clubman, actually. Similar powertrain, because it's like 310 horsepower, all-wheel drive. And I just thought, for the money, as I said, that one is the I can't even remember what. VZN TSI petrol 310 7-speed DSG.
Yeah.
But if you get like a VZ1 or a lower spec one, they're like mid-30s, and that's good money.
And they do well, not in the UK unfortunately, but they also do a VZ5, right, which is an RS3 basically. Which is very cool, but only left-hand drive markets. Yeah. Okay, well that's cool, and it's interesting. So I don't know if you've seen. Oh no, you can't see.
I can't see because I haven't got my glasses on. Yeah.
So okay, seeing as you're doing a bit of guesswork,
I tried not to do BMW or Audi or obvious ones.
Well, can you believe it? I'm going to tell you now that none of my three are BMWs. So.
You see, I nearly sent you a message going, "You're not allowed to choose BMW."
Well, I haven't.
Is that because they're not great value, or is it because you wanted to be a bit left field?
I think a bit of both. Well, I don't think anything's great value today, but it wasn't great value. It's just that some others that came to mind were better value. For those price points. So my car in sub 50 actually shares a lot of componentry to your car, and shares a lot of figures with your car.
Okay.
So
is it from VW?
No.
Is it from Skoda?
No. Although, Octavia is a brilliant car.
I know.
No, yeah.
So that's the problem. I was thinking, I could do this a load of bunch of Skodas you could choose.
Yeah.
Format, is it 4-door?
It is a 4-door. Yeah,
like
4 or 5-door. Should I give you another?
Yeah, throw me a bone.
Should I give you a massive hint?
Yeah.
I took you out on one last night.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we went dogging. No, we did. We went up to get the curry last night. Oh, an S3.
Yes, and it's weird because the S3 kind of gets forgotten about. And
mate, I love them.
They're just so. My other half has an S3 company car. She actually only picked it up a couple of days ago. She's had a few S3s over the years. This one's lovely, Daytona grey, black leather. It's just really nice. And I remember when I went to the UK launch of that car, I think it was during COVID, so it might have even been in the 2020 or 2021, whenever they launched it. And I remember really being impressed with that. But it's a car that I then quickly forget about because it just kind of does everything really well.
Yeah.
And when Lou picked up her new one, I took it out for a drive the day she got it, and I was just like, this is a brilliant, brilliant car. It does everything. It doesn't. It's not shouting about anything. It's not.
It's a Sportback one as well.
Yeah, Sportback, so it's practical, but it kind of flies under the radar. But at the same time, people that know. And it's just a really great car. It's comfortable. It's an Audi. The quality is mostly there. The interior could be better. But then, yeah, it's no worse than an RS3 because Audi UK didn't bring the nice interior for the RS3 into the UK. You could only get the base spec one or whatever. But yeah, in terms of pricing, so you can now at the bottom you can only get Black Edition or Vorsprung in the S3.
Oh.
So the Black Edition comes with a lot of standard equipment, including 19-inch optional wheels, etc. And one of those retail on the road 44,740.
Wow.
And that again retains the EA 888 engine, which is the 2-litre 4-cylinder turbocharged, 310 horsepower. Not 60 in under 5 sec. It's just a really nice package. But I mean, I'm really sitting on the fence because I'd kind of forgotten about that, and that's the same sort of running gear, but more practical. And yeah, so that's my little.
Mate, I'm all over that. Having had two S4s before,
Yeah.
we've talked about getting an S3 a couple of times actually because I think Audi's problem with the RS models is the S models.
Yes.
So so when I had my S4 and when did I buy that? It was my first one was a B8.5, so it's 2012 car I think. But I think we paid 30 grand for that, and at the time an RS4 was another 20 grand.
Yes.
And you look at it and you go, well, that's not another 20 grand's worth of car.
No.
They're great, and it's the same thing with the S3. I think I said to you when we went out to pick up the takeaway last night.
Yep.
The S3 is an amazing car, and the RS3 is an amazing car. But is it what? They're probably another 15, 20 grand on top.
Yeah,
of
yeah. Easy.
Like
Well, you can't buy them anymore.
No.
But yeah, that 100%. Yeah, it's like an extra 40-50% of the value.
I think I mean I very nearly went. I would have gone S4. I don't know whether S4s are under 50 grand. They probably aren't now because they're diesel, aren't they?
Yeah, it's all very
Which is
confusing
weird.
unless you're in some of Europe where they're petrol.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
Why did Audi take? I think for me the best car they made, the S4 Avant.
Yeah.
I would be biased. I've had two. I had the supercharged one, which was amazing, and then I had the turbocharged one, which was really, really good.
Yep.
And then they went diesel.
Yeah. Yeah. Didn't work, did it?
And it didn't work at all. And I had one for a week, and I just didn't click with it at all.
Whereas BMW offered you both in the M Light range, which is essentially the S range, isn't it?
Yeah.
The M340D and the M340i.
Yeah.
And guess what? Like they both sold really well because people weren't being forced into, oh, well, you have to have a diesel.
Yeah.
You know, like.
So I never understood that, but I'm all over that, mate. That is a good suggestion.
Okay.
Very, very good suggestion.
But who are we gonna? Well, again, vote in the comments.
We've basically chosen the same car with a different dress on.
Should we call that one a draw?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Draw.
Okay. Draw.
Okay.
That's good because that kind of leads us into the last one.
Yes, which you now have to win. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now the last one. So under 100 grand.
Yep.
So there's a few ways of thinking here. For me to spend up to 100 grand, it's got to be some mega car. There are so many cars at a lot less than that I would like.
Yep.
I've got the Defender at home. I would buy one of those in a heartbeat. I absolutely love that car. And you could even a Defender 90 75th anniversary edition like I've got, which is like 86 grand, which is a ridiculous amount of money for a Portaloo.
Yep.
I'd buy one. I'd buy one of those in a heartbeat. So I ignored Defender because that was an obvious choice.
Okay.
My next obvious choice, which I think from a residuals point of view and just brilliant car point of view, I've got a Boxster GTS there, but a Cayman or Boxster 4-litre GTS
Yes.
would come in under that, and that's for me, I think, one of the best driver's cars you can buy.
Yep. Agree.
Manual or PDK, and I ignored that.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
oh no, I don't like that face expression.
so I thought, well, I'm looking at a car that I find really interesting that is still probably yet to prove itself because it's so new.
Okay.
So the first thing I nearly chose was an Emira, a Lotus Emira.
Yep.
Because I think in terms of what a car looks like, and for the kind of car you're getting for the money, I think Emira is a pretty good deal.
Yep.
I didn't go with Lotus Emira.
Okay, so you've told us loads of cars that you didn't go for.
Yeah.
This is great. This is really good, Ped. So which one did you actually go for? Oh, no. No. I've won this one, by the way, guys. Absolutely knocked it out of the park.
I've gone for a Lotus Electra. And did you know why I did that?
Because it's another Chinese car?
Well, yeah. Do they speak Chinese in Hethel?
I thought that was... Isn't that a Chinese? Isn't that built...
But anyway, so moving swiftly on. So I chose it for a couple of reasons. One, because I knew it would wind you up. I went to the launch of Electra, and it is a really interesting car from an engineering point of view, especially from an aero point of view.
Right.
As a performance EV, bearing in mind that I'm looking at that as we go forward, more and more of these they're going to have to be EVs. So I'm thinking, okay, if you're going to have to buy an EV,
yep,
what's a really interesting performance EV?
A Porsche.
And you look at something like a Porsche Taycan.
Yep.
Okay. Now, you had a Taycan Turbo S the other week, and they're amazing cars. They're because they drive like a Porsche. I don't know. They just have this Porsche feel.
Yeah, they smell like a Porsche when you jump inside.
They're just a Porsche, right?
Yeah.
But they're big money.
Yep.
You buy something like, I don't know, a BMW iX.
Yep.
Brilliant, ugly as sin, but
yep,
amazing car to drive.
Very comfortable. Yep.
But horrendously expensive.
Yes.
Like way over $100,000.
Yes.
For a decent one.
Yeah.
For a high spec one.
Yeah.
So that now there are a couple of model options for that. There is an R version of that, which is the super duper mega fast one, but that's a ridiculous amount of money. But that's under $100,000.
Yes,
that's the base one with a couple of nice bits on it.
So are these actually, because with the Lotus, I know when the Emira came out, it was $60,000 or something, and then by the time customers actually got their cars, it was $80,000 or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, is this actually, you can go in and order that? Okay,
you can. So the base price is $89,500.
Okay. Yep.
And I've specced it a little bit. I've not put a great deal of spec on. I think I've spent nearly $3,000 on colour.
Okay.
So I've basically the exterior colour and wheels.
Yep.
Oh, it's on another tyre manufacturer. We can't have that.
Okay. Well, you can swap them out.
Yeah, swap them out.
Yeah.
I'll just borrow some from you. You got enough behind. And, I think, what else did I do? I'll put privacy glass and a pan roof on it.
Okay.
Because the car's got to have a pan roof.
$95,000. Okay.
Which is a lot of money, but
it is. I mean, I didn't have a clue how much they were, and I assumed that there would have been upwards of 100.
Yeah.
But okay. I mean, it's interesting.
And I know 3 or 4 people who've got one of those on order.
Okay.
And as I said, the performance, the aero, I think they're quite a cool looking car.
Yep.
And I thought I'd just not be predictable.
Yeah. Well, that's.
And then I'd basically cancel the order of that and go and buy a Boxster 4-litre GTS.
Yeah, if it was your money right now, you'd be like, oh. But no, that's you've come up with some really interesting suggestions, cars that I wouldn't have even thought about or considered. But that car, I mean, I'd be keen to drive one day and just see what it's like.
I mean, have you driven a Emira?
No, I haven't. No.
Yeah, the manual box in the Emira is quite tricky, so just be careful.
Okay.
But no, I haven't driven one yet. They look like the R. If you see the top spec one, that looks just genuinely sensational.
Okay, and I love the green on that.
Yeah.
It's worth the money. Okay, well, that's interesting, and it is interesting that I've also gone. We have shared some parallels here, but I guess as you go up in price,
you've gone electric.
No, I've gone for an SUV style car.
Ooh,
like that, a sporty SUV. And the reason, and it kind of ties in quite nicely because something I forgot.
Volvo?
No.
Okay, keep going.
No. You keep going. Although Volvo, they're nothing like I think Volvos are so stylish and cool. They are nice cars. I've never owned one, but I think they are. They do that sort of segment very well.
You've got slippers on, so you're halfway there.
I have, yes. Yeah. Basically, this week, last week, we're Monday now, aren't we? So last week, I went on a trip to Barcelona with Porsche UK for a Cayenne E hybrid trip launch. I can't talk about the cars because they're embargoed, I think, anyway. but that it was the new Cayenne or the facelifted Cayenne that's recently happened. And it's actually ironic. It's a car that you've driven and I haven't driven.
I drove it up the hill of good.
There you go.
Yeah.
So and the reason this came about is because I was looking at the e-hybrid pricing, and so the e-hybrid, the Cayenne S e-hybrid, which is supposedly the equivalent of what you drove but with a hybrid, is 87 grand, right?
Ooh.
But that comes with the V6, whereas the Cayenne S non-hybrid comes with the V8.
Yes.
And that's the car that I've chosen as my sub 100k car, because it's 84 grand, right? Which
Wow.
is a lot of money, and I'm not denying
See,
that.
I didn't even think of that because I thought it'd be more than that.
It's
Mind you, because the Cayenne I drove at Goodwood was like 150 grand or something.
yeah, because it had like a 15 grand paintwork on it or
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
didn't it? But I thought, okay, 84 grand. Porsche are being less stingy with standard fit options these days. You do get more kit in there just because of the way it's all integrated into their touchscreens and stuff. So 84 grand. So I thought, okay, that's a lot of money. But one second, so what is that platform? It's an Audi Q8. How much is an how much is a base spec RS Q8 at the moment?
Oh, and I had literally had an RSQ8.
You did, and you had a base spec one.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's 112 and a half grand,
Yeah.
right? So that's got the same engine. Okay, Audi claim it has more power. It probably does a bit, but because the Porsche, the Cayenne S is apparently 474 horsepower, but Porsche's ponies, as we all know, are much more punchy than your average pony.
Yeah.
So I reckon that Cayenne S has got well over 500 horsepower. It's got the 4-litre V8 twin turbo unit in it. It's got Porsche magic in terms of the chassis, and it's got that beauty. The new Cayenne or the updated Cayenne interior is
mega,
isn't it?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
beautiful. It's you feel like you're very much in a 911 but more luxury, and I just thought it's a lot of money, but I thought for 80 grand you're getting a V8 Cayenne from Porsche.
And it's a Porsche, so residuals are going to be really good.
Residuals are really good.
I thought about Macan GTS as well, because that would be in that, and that's a bloody good car.
It is, yeah. The Macan, and a great looking piece of kit as well.
I think you're going to win this one, aren't you?
Well, I mean, I'm definitely giving myself the win to that, but it's up to you, really. Like, it's got to be, it's got to be a joint vote.
No, I was trying to be punchy. But let's face it, 100 grand. I mean, what a lovely dilemma that would be. Or what am I going to spend my 100 grand on?
It would be amazing. And can you imagine, if you did go for that, you'd have 16 grand to spend on options with Porsche. So that'd get you about 3.
You could have heated wing mirrors.
Oh yes, and it's the special hubcap things, whatever, sensor things. But anyway, that's my. I just think, when you consider the Cayennes on the same platform as the Bentayga, as cars like the S8 RSQ8, what else is it? Oh, the Lamborghini No Taste Urus, that thing. I mean, that's on the same basic setup. And what's a Urus? Urus must be approaching 200 grand these days.
I don't know. I saw one parked outside the place I was working last week in a bright chrome blue wrap.
Oh yeah, you took a picture. Well, Lou and I saw a purple one in Marlow yesterday. It was like, oh man, money cannot buy taste.
No.
That is just literally. It's like, look at me, I've got no taste. I've got loads of money and no taste.
I mean, Cayennes. So my mate a few years ago had the V8 diesel S KNS. That was what a car that was.
Yes,
I mean, just brilliant thing.
Absolute weapon.
So yeah, I think you might win that one.
Oh well. Anyway, it was. Listen, I think we can call it. I think all of our suggestions are really interesting, and I personally found it interesting. I like this.
It's a great game.
It is a good game. I think.
And to be honest, there was loads. The thing is, when you start thinking, there's loads of manufacturers that. It would have been nice if we'd have had a longer podcast and done like our top 5, because I didn't choose a Skoda. You chose a Hyundai, which is really cool. Kia making some mega cars.
Yep.
We didn't even go anywhere near BMW.
We didn't.
Neither of us are major Mercedes fans, to be honest. The only Mercedes I'd probably consider buying is an A45S.
I was just going to say the same thing. What about a 4-pot C63?
Oh yeah.
Even Raz will agree on that joke if you're watching Raz or listening. Yeah.
So an interesting one. So if you enjoyed that, me and Joe kind of chewing the cud over really silly expensive cars, if you can find an under 30, under 50, or 100 grand car that you can think could be any of our choices,
Yep.
then drop them in the DMs and we'll chat about that on the next pod when you get back from Oz.
Definitely, yes. Yeah, looking forward to that. Hopefully my cold would have gone.
Yeah.
Got a bit more colour, look a bit healthier.
Mate, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
But unusually, what we've got to do now is pack up all this podcast kit, drive to Silverstone. We're going to the Silverstone Experience Centre, and we're going to be driving. You're driving a GT3, I believe.
I am, yes.
And I'm driving a GT4. And then we got a guest on the next pod, which will be the pod after this, or maybe sometime in the future.
Yep.
Tim.
Yep. Mr. Tim Williams.
Yeah, not Tim Schmee. Tim Williams.
Tim Williams.
Yeah. So he's coming on the experience with us. So, but we need to pack up and get going because we've got to be there in about half an hour.
Got to be there in about 15 minutes.
Yeah. Let's go. Right. We'll see you on the next episode of the Drive Talk podcast. Cheers, boys.
Yeah. Thanks a
lot,
and girls. And yeah. Cheers. Bye bye.